You better move fast. You cannot outrun the You Run podcast has begun.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel. My name is Scott and I'm your host today, and every other day as I bring you news, reviews and opinions in the world of horror. Today I'm taking a look at horror video game adaptations and which one is the best. But before I do that, make sure you subscribe and you hit the notification bell, because if like me you love everything horror, you're going to love everything we do here on the channel. Video game adaptations are a huge part of the horror world. They are big business and everyone tries to do them. Most recently we've had Markiplier has done Iron Lung, and Return to Silent Hill is another adaptation of Silent Hill 2. Obviously we've had adaptations of Silent Hill 1 and Silent Hill 3 with the first Silent Hill and Revelation, and this is the second instalment. But also going beyond that, you have things like Resident Evil, Blood Rain, House of the Dead. Like, there are so many video game adaptations in the horror world because there are so many horror games. And let's be honest, most of them are bad. Like, to be brutally honest, there are not very many good ones. You only need to look at the Resident Evil franchise. 1 and 2 are okay. After that, it is a downward hill into absolute trash. And there's a couple of reasons for this. One, video games are incredibly difficult to adapt, and lots of people will go, oh, you just follow the game story, it's really easy, you've got the characters, you've got the story, you could make this work. And essentially you can. However, you're normally condensing very long game runtimes into a shorter time. So for example, if you took a Resident Evil game that's maybe 25 hours worth of gameplay and story and world building and character development, and try and cram that into an hour and 40 minutes, you end up with something that feels rushed and convoluted, and there's a lot of expedition dumps to fill those big gaps of time in the game. There's also things like the actual atmosphere of the horror video game is very difficult to capture on film. Horror video games work, and they work well because when you're playing them, you feel the tension. You are in control as you go down the dark corridor, or you navigate your way through the misty city. Like, these things are your feelings and your interpretations as you open doors and you know something's going to be there. And the only way they can put that into a horror movie is to add suspenseful music and give you a jump scare, which ultimately feels flat, and it's not that same overbearing sort of tension and terror that you get when you play the game. Markiplier had done a really good job, and I've already reviewed Iron Lung, so I'm not going to do that again. But he done a very good job of adapting what the game was and keeping it authentic to the game and making it feel like you were playing the game, but taking away the fact you actually had to do it. And there's very few that can do that. There is one, however. There is one game that is, or one movie that's adapted a horror video game that I think is perfect. And it's not one of the big franchises. It's not a Silent Hill. It's not a Resident Evil. It's a movie that no one talks about, and it's a horror comedy. And I think that's why no one talks about it, because it is a horror comedy. And that movie is Werewolves Within.
Fun fact, not only is it the oldest, but remains one of the most effective means of traversing the ice.
Wow. Yeah, you're gonna fit right in at Beaverfield.
The strange thing about Werewolves Within being one of the best video game adaptations is that film adaptation is absolutely nothing like the game. Not even remotely. So the game is a social interaction and kind of deduction, guess who style game where you all sit around a campfire and you try to guess who is the werewolf. And the movie is a movie. The game is set in I think it's in the medieval times, and the actual movie is set in modern times. So why does it work? Why is this such a good adaptation? Well, it follows the principles of the game. It follows the whodunit style. The movie is presented very much like a horror comedy version of Clue, and it plays out almost like the game, where there's this very much whodunit aspect to it. And what it does is it takes the base premise of the game and it basically puts that into a real world element. And it works so well. It doesn't feel like you're playing the game, but you can feel the essence of the game coming through. And you might say that this is a really basic game to say it's a great adaptation because they've taken like the core element. It's not really an adaptation. But you could also say the same for Fallout. So the Fallout TV series is one of the best video game adaptations into a series by miles. And not because it copied the game. All it done is it took the world of the game and then made that world its base to create a brand new story. And I think something like the Fallout TV series is working and much better received than something like the Last of Us TV series that took almost beat for beat of the game, but then made changes and adapted things to fit the story that they wanted to tell. And I think that is inherently worse. If you have a game fan base who absolutely adore the game and you go to tell the story of that game and you go beat for beat for beat for beat for beat and then change something, all of the game fans go, whoa, 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 that is not what happened. And you instantly start losing your fans. Where if you do what Fallout done or what Werewolves Within done and take the world of that and adapt the world and then bring in new characters and tell a new story within a world that's familiar to people, people are like, oh, this is cool. Because like obviously in the game there's other stories going on that I'm not aware of. Like my character's not aware of the story that's happening over there. And that works and people can buy into that, and you then develop a new fan base, a fan base that loves the game and loves the series or loves the movie because they're different things set in the same world. And I think this is a lesson that filmmakers need to understand. Like there's a game that I would love to be adapted, and it's Alan Wake. And Alan Wake is a very difficult game to adapt. It's something that's almost impossible to conceptualize putting that game, especially Alan Wake 2, into a film. There's a lot of multi-world travel, there's a lot of monsters, there's a lot of deep lore and a lot of finding shit and solving shit. So let's take Alan Wake 2, for example. Like there's a big part of this where you're effectively an investigator, you're an FBI agent, and there's a lot of pinning stuff on a board and trying to tie everything together. It would be impossible to do that in a movie and keep an audience engaged. But what you could do is take the idea and take the premise of Alan Wake, take the story writer element and have a story narrated by a writer. You follow the FBI agent through all of these events that happen, a FBI agent, and then it turns out at the end that it's a story written by the writer Alan Wake, and that would work. It's a different adaptation, but would deliver exactly what I would want as a game fan without me going, oh, you missed that bit. Oh, that was my favourite bit. So yeah, I think Werewolves Within is by far the best video game adaptation we will ever get. I think filmmakers need to learn to stop trying to directly adapt video games, and if they're going to, they need to stick to it. Like if you're going to adapt it into a series, that will work, but you need to literally beat for beat, shot for shot, recreate the game, because that's what game fans want. We don't want you to beat for beat do it and then go, oh, I don't like that bit, I'm going to change that bit, because it just pisses us off. So yeah, I love Werewolves Within. If you haven't seen Werewolves Within, go and watch it. It is an absolute riot. It's a load of fun. It's a load of laughs. And it is one of those movies that makes you feel happy when you finish watching it. But that's it for me. Nice short one today. I hope you're all having a wonderful week, and I'll catch you next time.
You cannot move fast. You did not outrun. The You Run podcast has got you, hun.
Town meaty.
The whole time.
I have determined that Javier is a gossip.
Cool, thank you.
So that means either Gabe actually is the houndsman or he's the werewolf.
No!
I told you it was Cece.
Werewolves win!
Excluding myself.